Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the EEE 135 class, Dr. Toops Spring 2020. My name is Joseph Silvia.
What's up, everyone? My name is Nicolas Casas, and today my colleague and I are going to be discussing the European smart grid development. Some might ask, what is a smart grid? Well, in essence, a smart grid is a network that is formed by many small microgrids. So we're thinking small to big, and they are all working towards great efficiency, reliability, and stability. One thing to note is that these networks are connected through high voltage and ultra high voltage transmission lines that help minimize the losses throughout the lines. This approach is more of a utopian approach, meaning Europe wants all of its countries to be invested into being on the same grid, that being the smart grid. There are many beneficial factors that we will discuss later, but by merging electrical systems and pulling together the vast amount of renewable energy sources, it allows for other countries that don't have access to power to be having power. To do so, they will evenly distribute the excess energy from country to country.
Okay, so if you look at the diagram to the right, you can see that in the middle that there is an energy management system, otherwise known as an EMS, and this energy management system is centrally located in the grid, and basically all around it is the renewable energies, the end users, the generation stations, all the other people that play into how the smart grid operates. And basically, since they're connected through high voltage and ultra high voltage transmission lines, if one wind energy farm or solar farm has an excess amount of energy, they're able to distribute that evenly throughout the entire grid a lot faster because they're high voltage. They go at a faster speed, and they're able to basically make up for the efficiencies that regular grids do not account for.
In terms of Europe's smart grid is one of the most complex grid systems worldwide. In terms of the worldwide, it's innovative and technology leading. Over 950 projects have been addressed in the smart grid movement so far and account for 70% of total projects of common interest. Some driving factors for Europe towards a smart grid include the European internal market, which promotes economic growth, capital, and plays a key role. Another driving factor is security and quality of supply. It provides new, long-lasting, innovative methods. Another and more important driving factor is the environmental issues, meaning the impact that fossil fuels have on the world. One thing to note too is the main contributors to these, so to say, approach is the European Technology and Innovation Platforms, or the ETIPs. Another contributor is the European Union. Out of Europe, there are 27 countries that are participating in this synchronous approach and the utopian method. The European Commission is a subset or a sub-branch, more explicitly an executive branch of the European Union. The two branches that are outlined here, they conduct and design and implement infrastructure that are eventually incorporated into the smart grid.
Okay, so two major projects that kind of kickstarted the whole smart grid movement in Europe. The first one being smart grids, and this was introduced by the European Technology Platform in 2005. And it originally established to create a mutual vision throughout the entire mainland for European networks of 2020 and beyond. And they basically are, it was the kickstart to a new era for Europe in a sense, because this gave people an idea of what could possibly be in the future. And actually in 2008, the SET plan was adopted, which was the first step in establishing an energy technology policy for Europe. Basically, this was the principal decision-making tool for European energy policy. Two major timelines for the SET plan are the 2020 goals of 2020. And with that being said, the 2020 goals include 20% greenhouse reduction, 20% more smart grid development. And basically, on top of that, they also had another one that is 80 to 95% greenhouse reduction by 2050. And with that being said, they also included a 2 degrees Celsius temperature increase. So they want to keep it below that by 2050 as well. So the integration of a smart grid. Smart meters, they started coming around in the later 2000s, and installation probably began around 08, 09. Smart meters are basically a critical way for the two-way communication process with the smart grid to work. It's the pathway between the generation station and the end users, and this basically enables the whole real-time pricing, and it basically, at the end of the day, encourages end users to contribute to the energy market by implementing renewable energy sources on their homes or buildings. And by 2011, over 100 million smart meters had actually been installed worldwide. And by the end of 2020, they are expected to have 80% market penetration in every single country in Europe. Another really important factor that was introduced was the Empower program, which was in 2015. And this was essentially a local electricity retail market for prosumer smart grid power services. And this created a trading system that exchanged energy and stored it on a cloud-based platform. It worked in conjunction with smart meters, basically allowing for communication between data and pricing to the end users and back and forth to the generation stations in real time. And this basically persuades the end users to buy and sell the energy through the two-way communication system and just do their part in contributing towards becoming 100% renewable.
So some development aspects for Europe's grid. There is a vision of 2050 that was launched in 2018. It encompasses what we hope to strive for by the year 2050. And it's a roadmap of what needs to be done. In lieu of that, there are a couple of projects that have made strides to achieve those goals that have been set forth. One is the WISE grid, and another is the reserve. They each have acquisition of data that is innovative and integrated into the system. Each allows for stabilization of voltage and frequency, and also incorporates 100% renewable energy, removing fossil fuels. So here we have some smart meter progress, and it essentially outlines Europe and correlation with smart metering. By the end of 2020, all countries are supposed to be at or above 80% rollout rate. Here at this graph, you can see that the light blue indicates less than 50. A few countries have already exceeded the 80 rate. Additionally, only a few countries have not introduced smart meters, those being Central Europe.
Okay, so As you can see on the map of Europe, there is a lot of interconnections going on here. And in the blue is the high voltage lines. And as you can see, the blue is starting to take over all over Europe. They're mostly located in the northwest regions, but you can see they're slowly starting to be integrated more throughout Central and Southern and Eastern Europe. And eventually, over time, the pipelines and the oil pipelines are going to be replaced by high voltage lines, making a super efficient integrated smart grid system. One example of a transmission system that has been completed is the Pyrenees Mountains high voltage transmission system. This underground interconnection established a transmission path between France and Spain. The length of the line is about 40 miles long. It's about half and half in France and Spain. This transmission system has a load transfer capacity of about 1,000 megawatt, or has a load transfer capacity of two 1,000 megawatt cables. The budget was about 700 million euros, and that equates to 747 million US dollars. This tunnel was commissioned in 2014 and is still in use today.
So the Celtic connector connects Ireland and France. It's a transmission system with the direct connection. The European Commission approved funding, which was about 530 million euros. It's an underwater line that goes from Ireland all the way to France. Essentially, Ireland and France have the capability of having 700 megawatts transferred among themselves, whether they want to purchase or sell their power. Some future expansion proposals. We have discussed current projects or projects that have occurred in the past. What my colleague and I want to address here is some plans that want to fulfill the goals that have been set for Vision 2050. A couple of these are submarine cables that connect Europe and North America, which is a big aspirations and would be capable of having 4,000 megawatt cable. Ranging up to about $192 million in US. Another goal is to interconnect Europe and China through the ultra high voltage system. The exchange of energy between Africa and Europe seems promising in lieu that Africa is right dead in the center of the meridian. So the direct sunlight hits most there and literally goes up and down. So you get direct sunlight that is beneficial for Africa.
So this right here is a chart of the 2050 energy mix projection. And as you can see, the 2050 energy mix is 100% renewable. So each country has different amounts of renewable energies based on their geographical locations and what types of renewable energies are plausible for that region. And because the grid is so interconnected, every country is benefiting from each renewable energy through the interconnections and the high voltage transmission systems, being able to quickly send power back and forth wherever it's needed, making a super stable grid. And ultimately, this could completely prevent blackouts in the future if this system is as efficient as it's projected to be. So just to sum things up, there are a lot of environmental factors such as global warming and climate change. And these are forcing society to kind of use our alternative energy generation methods. And in particular, they're looking at renewable energy systems because it's a much cleaner system that eliminates greenhouse gas emissions. And they want to do this by creating a smart grid and interconnecting all these different countries and regions together. European countries, they have been on top of this before any other country in the world has, and it's they're a lot more advanced in their smart grid development and their complexity of the smart grid system. Vision 2050 states that Europe will be 100% renewable by the year 2050, and they will reduce greenhouse gas emissions substantially in the upcoming decades. They are estimated to be about 80 to 95% reduced by the year 2050. The European smart grid is comprised of complex interconnections that can efficiently transfer renewable power long distance, and they do it through high voltage and ultra high voltage transmission lines. These lines basically help reduce the losses in the system because they're going at such a fast speed and they're just more efficient. And lastly, there is a lot more expansion that needs to be done. There is a lot more construction and a lot more research that needs to be constructed. And basically, eventually, surrounding countries and continents are all going to start taking part in this. And Europe is essentially the pioneer that started the whole smart grid movement, and they have this topic is just very interesting, and I highly recommend anybody to go check it out if you are interested in the smart grid topic as a whole.
That concludes our presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as us. And comment, subscribe, like, the whole good 9 yards. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.